Okay, this video is a brief introduction to the Cisco Networking Academy, often referred to as netacad.com. The reason it's referred to as netacad.com is because that's the URL we go to get to the site. Once we're at the site, we need to log in. You should have done this at least once so far. So you click the login button and then try to log in. It's being a little bit temperamental today. But we'll go ahead and sign in. Once we get signed in, I by default go to I'm teaching that shows classes that I'm teaching or that I've taught in the past. Yours should default to classes I'm taking or something similar to that. I guess I'm learning. So what happens is you presumably only have one course, our CIT 161 course, whose name is shown here. But you want to locate that course box and then click the Launch Course icon. And what that'll do is that'll take you into the course. There will be lots of choices of things you can do. But today and a lot of times we're going to just simply go to modules. So I'm going to click on the modules, and there's some stuff up here at the introduction. It talks about the first time in the class. So we'll go ahead and look at that in case you have not done that. And basically what it does is a big list of quote networking things: IP addresses, ARP, DNS, Ethernet, connectivity, devices such as switches and routers, and security. But basically this is a long list of the major topics that you're going to learn as we go through this course. So you can look at that list if you want. I'm going to go back and go into student resources. So in student resources, there are going to be a number of things. There's social networking, where you can talk to other people that are working on their CCNA certification. There's a possibility that you can get discount Cisco certification exam vouchers for, in this case, the CCNA. A very important thing is Packet Tracer Network Simulator. You get this free for being a student at a Cisco Networking Academy school, in this case BCTC, of course. It is a really nice piece of software. It is built upon a piece of software that 10-15 years ago sold for about $1,000. Cisco took it over and has greatly improve this. We're going to be doing a lot of network simulation and assignments using Packet Tracer, and you'll have an upcoming assignment pretty quick that has you install Packet Tracer and use it for the first time. Another relatively new thing down here is there's actually an Intro to Packet Tracer course that you can sign up for free, and it'll teach you everything you need to know about Packet Tracer and more. I think it is set up to take you 10 hours of going through reading, doing activities, and doing some Packet Tracer activities. You might want to look at that. Like I said, that's relatively new. I had some students last semester in Cisco 3 that had never used Packet Tracer, so I checked this course out so that I could know what it was about and recommend it to them. And I learned Packet Tracer 15 years ago, and it's amazing. It does everything it's done for the last 10 plus years that I've been teaching, but it's amazing how many devices they have in there, how you can lay network devices on top of floor plans of a house or even a map of a state or a city, that type of thing. So it's very interesting and shows you all the amazing things that Packet Tracer can do. So like I said, we'll be talking about that in detail in an upcoming assignment. most of the time, what you're going to do is you're going to come in here, and what you're going to care about is the course content. And of course, the course is entitled Introduction to Networks. So what we do is we want to click on this, and it will take us to an intermediary page that has a button that says Load Introduction to Networks course in a new window. So when we do that, we're going to basically see what I'm going to refer to as the curriculum. It is the content of information you're learning over the course of this semester. As I mentioned in an earlier video, instead of having chapters, unfortunately, we're back to having what they call modules. But over here to the left is all the different modules that we're going to cover this semester. I think I said my recollection was there were 12 or 14 of them. There's actually 17 of them. And this tells you what we're going to be doing. And if, for example, in a few weeks we're in Chapter 5, you would probably come in here, Module 5, and click on 5 number systems and go to that particular topic. So what we have here is an introductory page that's just telling us about the CCNA curriculum and the academy. And notice down here on the bottom right, it says we can go to 1.0, the introduction. So by clicking on introduction or this arrow, it's going to take us into Module 1. Now then, several things that we want to talk about in addition to the module list. You'll notice when I went into this module, it greatly expanded over here, at least in Chapter 1, because that's where we're working. Sorry, it'll take me a while, Module 1. There's some icons up here to the top right. If you hover over them, it tells you what they are. Recently viewed will show you some of the pages that you had viewed recently. You know, here's a few seconds ago. This is something I was doing this morning. This is something I was doing yesterday. This is a page I was looking at 5 days ago. So it'll show you things that you had looked at recently. This is your bookmarks page. I don't have anything bookmarked currently, but basically what happens is you'll see down here, like if I wanted to bookmark 102, I could click here and it will add it to my bookmark list. So I'll just go ahead and do that, go back and look at bookmarks, and it shows me what I have bookmarked here. If I want to unbookmark it, I can simply go back and click on that. Unfortunately, the way this worked in the past is you had to be on the same computer. So if you were, for example, in the classroom looking at this and bookmarked something and then went home and got on your laptop, it would not show up. I haven't checked to see if that is still the case or not, but be aware that might be an issue. The third icon is the course index. It just basically goes through and tells you every single section and activity that is in the curriculum. And then finally we have a search. So if I wanted to go over here and say I want to know every module section that has IPv6 on it, I type that in, hit search, and then here is all the places that IPv6 is mentioned, which there's quite a few of them, but we'll talk about what IP version 6 is when we talk about IP addresses. So what else do I want to point out here? Notice that once we get into the actual curriculum, we have basically module, section, subsection. So if I say we're talking about module section 1.0.1, that is what I'm referring to. This is the content of that section. You know, that used to, these would be individual screens in the old Networking Academy, in the old version 6 curriculum. But this is kind of a continuous page that has all of, you know, module 1 in it, at least 1.0. Notice after we complete 1.0, the 2 sections that are in that, 2 subsections, down here is a link so that we can go to 1.1. So I want to point that out. Also up here at the top, it says we're in Module 1, which is entitled Networking Today. We're in section 1.0, which is the introduction. So that kind of is what's often called a cookie crumb trail of how we got to this page. And notice over here, as we progress through, it's going to show us over here in the module list exactly where we are. So when I lecture and when you study, you'll go into the section you care about. You'll read the content. This is just basically a welcome message. And it's saying, okay, what will I learn in Module 1? So here is a list of the things that we're going to learn about in Module 1. So that completes 1.0. So if we click here, we go to 1.1. And basically, it's going to start talking about how networks connect us and devices. Here's a video that's embedded in the curriculum. And we go through and we talk about the two subsections that are in Module 1.1. And then we'll move on and go to network components and talk about hosts and devices and peer-to-peer, etc. So as far as the content, what we're going to be learning, I kind of zoomed through that because the goal of this video was just to give you a brief introduction to netacad.com and how we're going to use it when we're studying and learning about the material in the course. I will talk about these. I'll have a Module 1 video coming up soon that will go through and actually talk about the content and what you need to learn and that type of thing.